symptoms? On the way to the class. Class in the morning. Rather sleepy.
Let's start. Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, continue. Let's have class.
First, let's review shock. Now, according to the development of shock, it is divided into 3 stages. Now, first, ischemic hypoxia state. Second, stagnant hypoxia state. And the last, refractory state. Now, every state we have learned 4 paths. Now, first, alteration of microcirculation and tissue perfusion. Second, now pathogenesis of disturbance. Now, the third, consequence of shock. The last, manifestation. Now, first, ischemic hypoxia stage, alteration of microcirculation and tissue perfusion. What? Ischemic hypoxia state, vasodilation or vasoconstriction. Now, pre-capillary resistance vessel and the post-capillary resistance vessel both constrict, but which constrict more? Now, pre-capillary resistance vessel constrict more. So, during the stage, pre-capillary resistance and the post-capillary resistance both increase, but which increase more? Pre-capillary resistance increase more. Now, during the stage, arteriovenous sac open or close? Open. So some blood return from arteriovenous sac. Now, during the stage, happen ischemia or congestion? Ischemia. So the state is called the ischemic hypoxia state. Inflow and outflow increase or decrease, which more? Inflow and outflow both decrease, but which more? Now, outflow is more than inflow. Now, the pathogenesis, why happen ischemia? Why happen this alteration? Now, the pathogenesis include 2 parts. Now, first, cause of shock, stimulate sympathetic nervous, so lead to catecholamine increase. Catecholamine act on alpha receptor. What happened? Vasoconstriction. Now, reactivity of pre-capillary resistance vessel to catecholamine more. So, pre-capillary resistance vessel constrict more. Now, act on beta receptor, so lead to arteriovenous sac open. Now, also lead to the other vasoconstriction factors increase, such as AG2, now TXA2. Now, so also lead to vasoconstriction and happen ischemia. So during the ischemic hypoxia stage, happen ischemia. Now, this stage called the decompensatory or compensatory stage. Compensatory stage. What compensation? Compensation include first, a redistribution of blood, maintain brain and heart blood flow normal. Why? Why happen redistribution of blood? Now, because catecholamine act on alpha receptor, lead to vasoconstriction, but alpha receptor of which vessel? Alpha receptor more? Skeletal muscle, skin, visceral vessel, alpha receptor more. So these organs, vasoconstriction. Now, brain and heart, alpha receptor less, so no vasoconstriction. So blood flow of brain and heart normal. So it is compensation. Now, the second, auto blood transfusion, auto fluid infusion. Now, what is auto blood transfusion? Because catecholamine increase vasoconstriction, spleen, liver, vasoconstriction. So stored blood return to heart. So lead to venous return increase, cardiac output increase, and maintain blood pressure normal. Autofluid infusion. What is autofluid infusion? Pre-capillary resistance is less than post-capillary resistance, so lead to capillary pressure decrease, so tissue fluid move in capillary, so lead to capillary pressure, so lead to venous return increase and maintain blood pressure normal. Now, the last compensation. Catecholamine increase, so heart rate increase, cardiac contractility increase, and lead to cardiac output increase, and maintain blood pressure normal. Now, vasoconstriction or vasodilation, vasoconstriction, so lead to peripheral resistance increase and maintain blood pressure normal. Now, it is compensation. Now, manifestation. Now, third stage, what manifestation? Blood pressure normal, heart rate increase. Now, skin, color of skin pale. Now, urine increase or decrease? Decrease. Oliguria. Now, blood pressure of blood flow of brain normal. So, have coma or no? I know. Now, it is the first ischemic hypoxia stage. The second, stagnant hypoxia stage, alteration of microcirculation and the tissue perfusion. What alteration? Now, during the stage, vasoconstriction or vasodilation. Vasodilation. Now, so blood flow slowly or quickly. Vasodilation, blood flow slowly or quickly. Slowly. So impose the capillary resistance vessel. Now plasma move out and viscosity increase and may happen red blood cell and the platelet aggregation block the vessel. So lead to post-capillary resistance increase. So during the stage, now post-capillary resistance is more than pre-capillary resistance. Happen congestion or ischemia. Congestion. So venous return decrease, cardiac output decrease, blood pressure decrease. So during the stage, blood pressure begin to decrease, not normal. Now, outflow and inflow, which more? Inflow is more than outflow. Hypercongestion. Now, why hypercongestion? The pathogenesis of alteration microcirculation. Pathogenesis include first, acidosis, lead to reactivity of smooth muscle cell to catecholamine decrease, so vasodilation. Now, the second, local accumulation of protoplasm. Now, for example, lactic acid, ADP, histamine, lead to vasodilation and capillary permeability increase, plasma move out. So the stage hypercongestion. Venous return, vasodilation. Now a lot of blood storing in capillary. Venous return decrease, cardiac output decrease, blood pressure decrease. Now The third, during the stage, plasma move out, viscosity increase, so red blood cell and the platelet aggregation block the vessel, so also lead to venous return decrease, hypercongestion, blood pressure decrease. Now the last, endotoxin lead to nitric oxide, NO increase. It belongs to vasodilation factors, so lead to vasodilation. Also lead to congestion and venous return decrease, blood pressure decrease. So during the stage, blood pressure decrease and hypercongestion. If blood pressure less than how many? Brain of heart, blood flow decrease. Blood pressure less than how many? 50 or 60 or 40? 50. If blood pressure less than 50, now blood flow of brain and heart will decrease. Now, so during the stage, high compensation or no compensation, I know blood pressure begin to decrease, blood flow of brain and heart decrease, so no compensation. Now, no auto blood transfusion, auto fluid infusion disappear. Now, venous story, blood story in capillary, venous return decrease, so which disappear. Auto blood transfusion disappear. Plasma move out, which disappear. Auto fluid infusion disappear. So during the stage, blood pressure decrease, tissue perfusion decrease, and hypoxia, hypoxia. So lead to lactic acid increase, acidosis happen. Acidosis lead to vasodilation. Vasodilation, the next lead to auto blood transfusion, auto fluid transfusion disappear, cardiac output decrease more, and blood pressure decrease more, tissue perfusion decrease more, acidosis more, so form vicious cycle. Now during the stage, auto blood transfusion, auto fluid infusion disappear and form vicious cycle. Now manifestation. What manifestation? Now blood pressure decrease, urine decrease more. Now color of skin is bluish, hypercyanosis. Now brain and heart blood flow decrease, so coma, hypercoma. Now the last stage, alteration, refractory stage, alteration of tissue perfusion, vasodilation more, and hyperparalytic vasodilation. No response to vasoconstriction drug. Now, in the microcirculation form microthrombus and happen DIC. Now, during the stage, no perfusion, no flow. No perfusion, no flow. Now, why no perfusion, no flow? Because DIC and because DIC form microthrombus block the vessel. Now, vessel happen paralytic vasodilation. Paralytic vasodilation. Now, why happen DIC? The pathogenesis, shock lead to DIC, the pathogenesis include 5. Now, happen DIC must coagulation function increase or decrease first? Increase. So shock lead to DIC. You must explain why shock lead to calculation function increase. Now, function increase, calculation function increase. Why during the refractory stage? First, plasma move out, so blood concentration and viscosity increase. Red blood cell and platelet aggregation, so lead to calculation function increase and happen DIC. The second, infection or trauma can damage VEC and release tissue factor, stimulate extrinsic or intrinsic calculation pathway. Extrinsic calculation pathway. Now damage VEC export collagen, so stimulate calculation factor 12. So stimulate an intrinsic calculation pathway. So extrinsic, intrinsic calculation pathway both stimulated. So calculation function increase. Now, infection, trauma, and severe acidosis also stimulate intrinsic and extrinsic calculation pathway. Now, the last, heterotype blood transfusion also release tissue factor lag. Now, tissue factor enter the blood, so stimulate extrinsic calculation pathway. So also lead to DIC. Now the next class we will learn disseminated intravascular calculation. Now it is shock 3-stage, and there are emphases you might remember. Now do some exercise. Now the first, which is true. Choose A, B, C, D, E. During the refractory stage, what happened? Organ failure. Now no perfusion, no flow, so due to the organ dysfunction. Now why happened no perfusion, no flow? DIC and paralytic dilation. So which is A? B. Understand? Now the phenomenon of no reflow in shock is caused by what happened no phenomenon, no reflow. What blocked the vessel? Micro thrombus. Understand? Because micro thrombus block the vessel, so if you transfuse blood and the fluid can't move into the true capillary. Understand? Because micro thrombus. DIC. It is microcirculatory mechanism of shock. It is emphasis and difficult, you might remember. Now the next, we will learn cellular and molecular mechanism. Now, it is understand Cellular and molecular mechanism. Several facts have been found that the primary cause of shock may also damage cells directly. Now, shock. First, hypoxia, ischemic hypoxia, stagnant hypoxia, and refractory. Now, lead to hypoxia. Now, hypoxia can damage cell. During the hypoxia, we have learned. Now, hypoxia first damage cell membrane, and the next, what will happen? Which move in, which move out? As sodium and calcium move in, potassium move out. Now we have learned. And the alteration of mitochondria. Mitochondria is damaged, so produce ATP will decrease. And now the last alteration of lysosome. Now, in detail, the alterations of cell membrane. Now, hypoxia, acidosis, hypokalemia also can damage cell membrane. Now, during the shock, hypoxia. Hypoxia lead to produce ATP decrease. ATP decrease, so sodium, potassium pump, the function will decrease. So also lead to sodium in intracellular fluid, sodium will increase and water move out. Now what will happen? Water move into the cell, so happen cell edema. Now the operation of mitochondria, now cell edema, now lead to mitochondrial swelling. So now swelling, so now produce ATP will decrease. Now the alteration of lysosome, now release lysolide, so damage itself. Now cellular and molecular mechanism, now it is easy. Now the last, humoral mechanism. Several causes of shock lead to marked increase in circulating level of humoral factors, which may be involved in pathogenesis of shock at various degree in different stages. Now, humoral mechanisms include vasoactivity amine, endothelium, regulated peptide. Vasoactive amine, now catecholamine. Now, during the macro circulation mechanism, we have learned. Now, during the shock, catecholamine increase or first increase and next decrease. Now, during the shock, catecholamine increase. Now, first, during the ischemic hypoxia stage, because no acidosis, so catecholamine increase lead to vasoconstriction. During the stagnant hypoxia stage, because hyperacidosis, so reactivity of smooth muscle cell to catecholamine decrease and hypervasodilation. Refractory stage. Why hyperparalytic vasodilation? Because acidosis more, reactivity decrease more, maybe no reactivity. So hyperparalytic vasoconstriction. So during the shock, Now, catecholamine increase. Now, ketamine and 5-HT. Now, during the stagnant hypoxia stage, now ketamine and 5-HT increase. Now, the function vasodilation and lead to capillary permeability increase. Now, so vasodilation, hypercongestion. Now, capillary permeability increase, plasma move out, so lead to viscosity increase. So now endothelium. Now nitric oxide vasodilation. During the stagnant hypoxia stage, it increase and lead to vasodilation. Endothelium lead to vasoconstriction. During the ischemic hypoxia stage, it increase and lead to vasoconstriction. Now lead to vasoconstriction, so hyperischemia. Now regulated pattern, anotony. It can regulate water and sodium mechanism. Now it is pathogenesis of shock. You might remember microcirculation. 3 stage you might remember. It is emphasis you might remember. Now the next alteration of metabolism and function. Now alteration of metabolism and function. Now first during the shock, glycolysis increase or decrease. Hypoxia, so glycolysis increase and produce lactic acid increase and happen which types acid-base imbalance? AGI high. Now metabolic acidosis because lactic acid increase. Now fixed acid increase. Catalysis of fat increase. So free fatty acid and ketone bodies increase. Ketone bodies belong to fixed acid, so also lead to metabolic acidosis, high metabolic AG high. Now catalysis of proteins also increase, so lead to negative nitrogen balance, negative increase. Now organ dysfunction in shock. First, shock lung, acute respiratory failure. Now during the refractory stage, maybe lead to organ dysfunction. Now the patient may be hyper-refractory failure. Now, why hyper-refractory failure? Because hypermicrothrombus so block the respiratory capillary vessel, pulmonary vessel block, so lead to ischemia, and so lead to partial pressure of oxygen in artery decrease. Now refractory failure, partial pressure of oxygen in artery decrease. Now acute renal failure. Now it called shock kidney. Now different stage. the renal failure type different. Now, during the early stage, because ischemia now lead to blood flow, vasoconstriction, so blood flow of kidney decrease, so lead to GFR decrease and urine decrease, so happen functional renal failure. Now, if transfused blood and fluid, so kidney blood flow will recover, function of kidney will recover. So the renal failure is called functional renal failure. So during the early stage of shock, happen functional renal failure. Now during the early stage, ischemia, more or less, ischemia more, now maybe lead to tubal cell. Now lead to the tubal cell necrosis. Now what will happen? It is functional or not functional? Now not functional. Now it is functional renal failure. Now what manifestation? What will manifestation? Now urine decrease. Cell necrosis, so block the tubal. So also lead to urine decrease. Now urine decrease, so the next will lead to release potassium decrease or increase. Now the normal cell can release potassium and hydrogen. Understand? Now, if the cell necrosis should release potassium and hydrogen decrease. So in the blood, in the patient's blood, hydrogen and potassium will increase. So what will happen? Now hyperkalemia and acidosis. So the patient manifestation algeria, azotemia, hyperkalemia, and metabolic acidosis. So the patient hypermetabolic acidosis. Now the third, disturbance of cardiac function. Now maybe happen heart failure. Now ischemic hypoxia stage, happen heart failure or no? Ischemic hypoxia stage, blood flow is normal, so no heart failure. Now stagnant hypoxia stage, if blood pressure less than 50, blood flow of heart will decrease. So heart hyperischemia maybe lead to now heart ischemia, so hypoxia produce ATP decrease. So cardiac contractility decrease, cardiac output decrease, and happen heart failure. Now during the refractory stage, what happened? Mitral thrombus. Mitral thrombus block the vessel of heart, so also lead to ischemia more. Cardiac contractility decrease more. Now during the stagnant and the refractory stage, happen acidosis and hyperkalemia. hypokalemia and acidosis also lead to cardiac contractility decrease, so lead to heart failure. Now, it is alteration of metabolism and function. During the shock, maybe happen respiratory failure, renal failure, and heart failure. Now, water, electrolyte, and acid base imbalance. Now, because hypoxia, so produce ATP decrease, potassium and sodium pump function decrease, so happen cell edema. Now, lactic acid glycolysis increase, so lactic acid increase, and happen metabolic acidosis. Now, during the shock, ventilation increase or decrease, and during the early stage, hyperstress. Now, ventilation increase. So what happened? Ventilation increase, respiratory alkalosis. And during the later stage, refractory stage. Now, ventilation will decrease, and respiratory rate will decrease. So what will happen? Respiratory acidosis. So different stage. Now, respiratory acidosis, acid-base imbalance different. Early stage happen respiratory alkalosis. Now, the last stage happen respiratory acidosis. Now, during the shock, also happen metabolic acidosis. So during the shock, happen max acid-base imbalance. Now, acid-base imbalance, maybe metabolic acidosis and respiratory alkalosis. During the last stage, metabolic acidosis and respiratory acidosis. Now, it is water, electrolyte, and acid-base disturbance. Now, Section 5. Features of several common types of shock. Hypovolemic shock, lactic acid shock, cardiogenic shock. During the etiology of shock, we have learned. Now, the first, hypovolemic shock. What is hypovolemic shock? Which decrease blood volume decrease. Now lead to hypovolemic shock. Blood volume decrease, ECBV decrease, tissue perfusion decrease. The shock is called a hypovolemic shock. Now, hemorrhage shock, traumatic shock, infection shock. Now, if acute loss of 20% of circulating blood volume and lead to hypovolemic shock. Now you make less than 20%. Now the shock maybe happen shock kidney and endotoxin. Now, because blood volume decrease, so blood flow of kidney decrease, so lead to GFR decrease, urine decrease, and happen renal failure, maybe happen renal failure. And septic shock, infection shock. Now, why infection lead to shock? Because infection lead to some cytokines. Cytokines, we which lead to blood volume decrease, which lead to cardiac output decrease, will lead to capillary vasodilation. Now, for example, ketamine and 5-HT lead to vasodilation, so lead to capillary dilation more, venous return decrease, and ECBV decrease. They also lead to capillary permeability increase, plasma move out, so blood volume decrease. Now, TNF, tissue necrosis factor, and interleukin-1 can inhibit cardiac contractility, so lead to cardiac output decrease. So during the infection, if severe infection lead to infection shock, septic shock. It also called septic shock. Anaphylactic shock. Now also we have learned, because hyperangi and antibody reaction, so lead to ketamine and 5-HT increase, so plasma move out and vasodilation. Now lead to ECBV decrease. So hyper-anaphylactic shock. Now it is the pathogenesis during the etiology of shock. Also we have learned. Now anaphylactic shock lead to vasodilation. So treat the type shock, use vasoconstriction drug or vasodilation drug. A vasoconstriction drug. Now the last treatment. No, take a break.